estrogen that they use in hormonal birth control pills, even though we started putting them in hormonal birth control pills around the 70s, they weren't tested. That wasn't tested on women until 1991. Welcome to Let's Talk About with Lily and Lou, the podcast in which we are going to discuss with you all the things that multidimensional women in the 21st century go through in hopes that we can break some taboos together. But first, every episode, we are going to start with a confession corner because Lou and I have actually never met in real life. We've only ever met over the internet. So we're like modern day priestess. And that's why we are going to do a confession corner with you. Okay, Lou, sit your ass down on the confession corner bench and tell us what you've been up to. You're already smiling.
It's not super exciting, but maybe it is a little bit, or maybe it's worrying. I don't know. But I came home.
Probably all of the above.
Yes. I came home last week, right? And I started saging my house because I'm a witch, so sage, clearing the energies around the house. And for some reason, my sage didn't really turn off by itself as it usually does. It went like smoking. It started smoking up. So it's like I don't know if you guys know about incense Palo Santo, but sage is a bigger one that smokes a lot. But usually it turns itself off. And little backstory, every time I make toast, my fire alarm starts. It's really bad. It smells everything. I don't know why, but like even if the toast aren't burn, it just kind of starts ringing. But the thing is, I didn't know the sage kept burning when in the shower. And then when I come out of the shower,
oh gosh,
not too long after, there's smoke everywhere. The fire alarm has been ringing for I don't know how long. And I'm lucky that no firemen or neighbors came and check on me, or am I though? Because then I'm like, what if I would, maybe I could have died, guys. Why did no one came to see me when I set fire to the house?
How are you still alive?
Yeah, actually, Kel.
You leave burning things out there.
Remember the episode works.
Remember that episode
right
where you say, "Oh,
we're like, completely off."
Both.
But anyway, I'm known to risking setting fire to the house. My housemate has made jokes about that before, with me cooking or with me burning intentions every full moon. So it's just kind of something that happens. It was inevitable, guys. Your turn.
So we have to now say your turn every time the other person wants to talk or is allowed to talk. Lol.
Maybe, yeah.
So remember that episode where you were like, okay, we're going to burn something. And I thought that you knew what you were doing, but now it sounds like you're setting fire to the house every single time. So I'm happy that went okay.
Maybe I'm a pyromania.
Pyromania.
Maybe I shouldn't joke about this. I don't know, but
maybe. My confession this week is that I'm still not on dating apps because, as you all know, if you've listened to our previous episodes, my heart was broken. Poor me.
Fuck that guy.
Cry baby. Exactly. Or no, not fuck him. I wish him all the best, but just not with me.
Sorry. It's just a not protective friend way to talk, but I know you mean well.
Love that. Just not with me, not getting my energy. And my confession is that even though I said I was not gonna date for 6 months, I did have a rebound, but I think that's scandalous. I don't think that really counts because we didn't go on a date. We just had sex, and it was good, but it wasn't the best. That's
kind of what a rebound is like, I guess. So
facts. And also, when everyone's like, "Oh, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone new," I full-heartedly disagree because it's not. The sex is never as good as it was with your partner. And if it is better than the sex with your partner, lucky you that you got out of that relationship, because get the hell out. Don't settle for bad sex in your life ever. And that wasn't the case. So unfortunately, that's my dirty little secret. I like it. I'm so excited for this week. Again, last time I was super excited as well. And this time I'm going to be geeking out. So please bear with me because this week we are talking about contraception. And
I'm not
some
as
of you,
excited as her because I'm going to be the dummy here. We're doing contraception for dummies. That's me. We were doing the structure of this podcast and I was like, oh my God.
oh my God, I'm the dummy.
What are we talking about?
Well, and
But
that's
this is great though.
You know how
Very
stupid that is though, because even though you say that you're a dummy when it comes to contraception, you're going to tell your story a little bit later. And I know that you've been on contraception, hormonal contraception, and other types of contraception for a long time. So it's super strange that a lot of women and men, in my opinion, because I feel like everyone should learn about this because it affects all of us. It's super strange that you don't know a lot about it. So today we are going to clear that out. And before we start and I start spewing my knowledge, maybe it's interesting for people to know I used to be a med student, so I actually do know what I'm talking about. I have some background when it comes to this. And I'm also going to reference to a few books that I've read. One in particular that I really like, it's called Period Power. I do recommend everyone to read it if you are a person who menstruates. And before we start as well, I want to say person who menstruates instead of women, because there are also people who menstruate who do not identify as women. And I also want you to feel included in this conversation.
Yeah.
Trans people, Lou.
I like that. Yeah, well, yeah, of course. I did know that.
Yeah.
I did not.
Your face is like, huh?
Because I didn't expect you to say that. So I was just like, that's really good. Yeah. I like it.
So I just want to make sure that everyone
this.
feels included in the conversation, because everyone can relate or should be able to relate. So yeah.
Yeah. So maybe as the dummy here, we're going to go straight on. By the way, I know about contraception, but just not the science thing kind of stuff. Yeah. Just like what everyone is told to do. Anyway, what is contraception, Lily?
Yes, I think it's very good to begin basic. Contraception is basically everything that falls under the umbrella of anti-conception. So everything that prevents getting pregnant for a person who menstruates or who has ovaries and a uterus.
No babies.
That is no babies. Exactly. It is to prevent babies.
What types of contraception are there, Lily?
There's a lot of different ones actually. I feel like a lot of people will use different types of contraception in the course of their lives, which it can be condoms. It can be the pill, which a lot of people know. So the pill is one form of hormonal contraception. So you have hormonal contraception and also non-hormonal contraception. And I feel like a lot of people know about the pill, but a lot of other ones are not really known. And basically how how the pill and how other hormonal contraceptions work, or how they can work, is they kind of direct themselves at a different part of your reproductive system as a person who menstruates. So either it can prevent you from ovulating, or it can change the balance in your uterus. So it's different types of way how hormonal contraception can work. And then obviously you have condom, like non-contraception hormonal ones are condoms, or withholding from sex, which is the best contraception there is. Obviously.
Abstinence?
Exactly. Abstinence. That is the easiest one. Or some people also use pulling out before the person that you're having sex with comes, or so there's different ones. But basically the two big parts are hormonal and non-hormonal.
I like that. I follow. What would you recommend? What would you say is the best contraception then?
Let me start off with saying that I feel that the best contraception is a subjective thing. So the best contraception for you is what works for you. And what works for you doesn't necessarily work for me. So I could say, if you look at like the percentage that it protects you, or like that it actually has a function of not making you pregnant, if you only take that as the measurement of which one is the best, then yes, the hormonal IUD has 99% clearance of you not getting pregnant. But it can also do a lot of harm.
Is that the same as the Implanon?
No, Implanon is
what's
in
the
your
IUD?
Arm. IUD is in your uterus. So they
yeah. Okay.
Yes,
we
it's
don't
in
have
utero.
the same word in French, which I can't remember what it is anyway, but I was just like, what?
Oh yeah. So like hormonal ones most of the time, or abstinence, actually, that is the best contraception. 100% sure. So if you're only measuring
realistically,
the best contraception is the one that works best for you and that gives you the least side effects. And I think that that's the most important thing to remember. Yes, because side effects are different.
Having like between being bloated or having sheet skin, having cravings, having your period, or like bleeding in between periods a couple times. Like some women have heavy periods or cramps, or even like bleedings every 2 weeks or stuff like that. Okay. Yes. So yeah, my thing is, I think when I was 14, 15, I don't know, when my mom figured that I might be sexually active, which we were way off, but just in case, or when I first got my period, but anyway, something like that.
Exactly.
She got me on the pill, which turned out to be, there was this whole news fiasco, scandal, where one pill was proven to be cancerous, right? Something like that. So that's the one I was taking. It was great. So we took that off. It actually got me. I had also, because you take the pill every day until your period or something, right?
Yeah.
From your
Wait, cycle. Can I stop you 1 second?
Yes, please.
The World Health Organization actually classifies every single hormonal pill as cancerous. So that's next to tobacco and asbestos. So every single pill gives you an increased risk.
Is it like smoking? Oh God.
Yes. So it gives you I'm not sure what the percentages are. So I don't necessarily know how it relates exactly to tobacco, but it is on the same list in the World Health Organization.
They expect women to take it. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's keep that in mind.
Fact.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought there was something about, maybe it was called Jasmine or something. I feel like I remember something like that. Anyway.
Jasmine. Yeah.
Is that one?
I'm not sure, because if so, I've taken that for 5 years.
There was a scandal or something.
Yeah.
And then anyway, you can double up the tablets so you don't have your period, which I'm young. I don't want to have my period. I did that a couple of times. So when my mom took me off it took me a while to like become normal again, like have my normal cycle. And then I think it was my decision, did a little bit of research, the Implanon, which was the best decision of my life. Had it for 3 years, no side effects, no period for 3 years. The absolute fucking dream. You change it after 3 years. So it's still like in effect. And I was in Australia at the time, got another one for another year and a half. So 4 years and a half. And then I started bleeding every 2 weeks. And I went to see a doctor, and she said to me, yeah, it's actually pretty common for people on the Implanon. Your body starts building up resistance to the hormones and stuff. And so you start getting your period again or something. You still can't like get pregnant, but like the effects are different. So I was like, fuck this shit. Took it off completely. And then over a month or something, I was just like, I'm just going to be natural. I just want to be in tune with the moon, get my period with the full moon. I'm just kidding. But I just wanted to have it by myself. And so now I use the Flow app, which is free, to track my cycle. So I know how long my cycle is. I follow my symptoms. So like if I start getting cramps or things like that, I know that it's coming, or like sore tits, stuff like this. And then, how long am I bleeding for? How heavy it is? Cravings, no cravings. Did I have sex on my period or before you can just know stuff. So then when you're with someone, you try not to have accidents or to use a condom or things like this.
Yes.
When you're ovulating, when you're most fertile, right?
Your most fertile window.
God.
Exactly.
So
actually a woman is only fertile for 6 days in her cycle. And I'm not sure if everyone knows that, but I'm just going to give a little bit of background on, or I'm just going to talk you through the cycle real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Mm-hmm.
cycle starts on your first day of menstruation. And I'm just going to use 28 days as like the average cycle length, because a lot of research uses 28 days, even though only 15% of people who menstruate actually have a cycle that's 28 days. So if you do not have a 28-day cycle, just be aware that I'm just using an average. Your first day is on your first day of menstruation. From then,
Yes.
your body, your ovaries are starting to grow, or picking the egg cell that they are going to grow to then release during ovulation, which in a 28-day cycle is going to be on day 14, because that is the first part of your cycle. It's called the folliculars part, the follicular phase, actually. And
yeah, I've heard that actually.
Yes, follicular phase. After that, when your ovulation has been your egg has been released, your ovulation has passed, you start your luteal phase, which actually gets its name from when your egg is released. The part, or like the surrounding where the egg was, changes into the corpus luteum, which I know you can forget, or the yellow body. It's an easier name, the yellow body. It's a little bit important to remember, because that little organ, or little gland actually starts making a hormone, and which takes you into your second phase and actually gives you the side effects of your second part of your cycle. So you have two hormones that are very important in your cycle: estrogen and progesterone.
I knew this. My science
progesterone. In English, that word is such a tongue twister. And those two hormones are super important to remember, because those are the hormones that they play with in hormonal contraception. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So the first phase, your estrogen is rising up until your ovulation. Then it goes down and your progesterone starts rising, and then up until the point where your menstruation starts and your next cycle starts. So that is basically what your body does. And I strongly believe that, or actually now that I'm in a phase of my life where I'm like, okay, I feel like there is a reason why women have, or people who menstruate have, a cycle. And if you use hormonal contraception, you're kind of baselining that cycle. In your story, I heard you say that you doubled up on your pill to not have a bleed. But actually, when you take the pill, that bleed that you have is not an actual menstruation. It is a withdrawal.
I do remember this, actually.
Yes.
I was told this. Yeah.
It's a withdrawal bleed. So it is a fake bleed, or it is actual blood, but the reason that it's there is because you cut off the hormones in your pill, because you either have a strip with 28 pills and the last few pills are dummies, so there's no hormones in there, or they tell you to take it 3 weeks, not take it for a week, and then start again. So there's two ways of going at it. And so it's a fake bleed, basically. It is just because you withdraw from all those hormones. So it's not a natural cycle. It's not part of the natural cycle that I just explained. And then when I heard you say implant, so there's two things that I wanted to reply to in your story. When I heard you say implant, that's actually in the book Period Power. I'm just going to show the people who are watching.
Yes.
I'm going to read a little bit about this. I didn't know about this, and I feel like it's very important to know, especially because both of us identify as feminists. And yes. It's often the bodies of women of color that are exploited in the name of progress. In the 1950s, Puerto Rican women were deceived and exploited into being the first human test subjects of the birth control pill. And the US state backed sterilization programs that are also resulted in over a third of Puerto Rican women being robbed of their reproductive rights. The development of the use of the contraceptive injection Depo-Provera. So that's, I'm not sure if you got that one or you got a different brand. Okay. You got a different implant then.
Probably.
But for one of the implants, or actually that's how it starts, obviously, when they test on people. And in this case, for contraception, it also steeped in racism. Dorothy Roberts reports in her book, Killing the Black Body, that in 1978, FDA audit of a Depo-Provera trial, so the contraceptive injection, at Emory University in Atlanta, discovered the reckless disregard of the health of the 4,700 Black subjects on Black women during apartheid as a method of population control by providing the implant for free at factories and other places of employment, and sometimes threatening women with loss of their job if they did not consent to it. So I just wanted to point that out because you said implant, and I was like, oh, I remember this from the book that they said.
That's pretty cool.
What the history
you shared
is.
This.
Yeah. So there's a lot of sketchy stuff that went around when they were trying out hormonal contraceptives.
That's horrible.
Exactly. Not surprised. Also, another fact, estrogen that they use in hormonal birth control pills, even though we started putting them in hormonal birth control pills around the 70s, they weren't tested. That wasn't tested on women until 1991. Before that, it had only been tested on men. But men have a completely different hormonal balance than women do. So it is super strange that it was never tested on us and the effects were never looked into. So that makes me wonder, at least, if we would start again with the pill, how we know it now, and all the other hormonal contraceptives, if we made trials now and actually started doing it from scratch and making medical trials from how they're supposed to, or setting them up how they're supposed to, would a lot of the hormonal contraceptive even get past those first stages? I highly doubt it. Because there used to be a trial for male contraceptives or hormonal male contraceptives, and they stopped it because men were experiencing so many side effects. But when you read through the side effects, they're the same as what women experience from the pill.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So that is a little bit of background on contraceptives or hormonal contraceptives, at least, which I think is a very dangerous thing. Having said that,
it is. There's a lot of people that are like pros and against and stuff. Like it's a lot of discussions. Yeah. Having said that, I have been on hormonal contraceptives my whole life, or like not my whole life, but like starting when I was 15, I went on the pill because my friends were on the pill and they were having, I think my friend started because she was having extreme PMS. And they started her on the pill. But instead, obviously, I know that now, instead of helping the problem or kind of curing the problem, it just suppresses the symptoms. Do you want to say quickly what's PMS for those of us that might not know?
Yeah.
Extreme PMS,
premenstrual syndrome. So that's when you experience a lot of different symptoms before your menstrual cycle or your menstruation starts. So that can be bloating, can be extreme pain, it can be super grumpy, depression, a variation of symptoms. Yeah. And in this day and age, still, your GP will start you on a hormonal birth control pill for a lot of stuff like this.
I mean, I don't know if that's why, but you hear a lot of things for like, well, it's an industry, and like
it is, of course,
so
it is an industry. Too. Yeah. But yeah, so going back to my experience, I started with the pill when like on the pill when I was 14. I kept taking it until I was like, okay, I don't want to take this anymore. Also, obviously, hearing that the hormone levels in the pill were super high, and both estrogen and progesterone were in there. So, and then the IUD, the coil, the IUD that I was talking about earlier. Yes, exactly. Got a little bit more popular, and I was like, let me try that, and I've had one ever since. But more and more, I'm thinking that, okay, I want to experience my cycle and live with my cycle, because there is,
it's kind of nice. It feels very natural.
Yeah, exactly. It feels really,
it feels very natural. It just felt like it was the time for me to do that. And like, I used to not really welcome my period, and then it's like they say it's like a time to rest, and like you're just your body fluctuates and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what, it's okay. Like I'm craving a little bit more. I'm a little bit more tired. I don't have to train as hard.
Exactly.
I can feel emotional. I can watch a soapy movie, whatever. I'm just like, okay, it's 4 or 5 days where I'm like a little bit more in my feels, or doing whatever I want, or having a bit extra chocolate cookies.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like once you start tracking your cycle, there's a lot of things will fall into place, because yes, you can have those days where like, oh my God, why can I not? Yesterday I was squatting 50 kilograms, and today it's literally, I can barely do a body weight squat.
Yeah, you have to be gentle with yourself.
Exactly. And if you start tracking and noticing, then you know where in your cycle you are and how to handle that better. So that is what I'm starting now, actually. And I think it was like 8 months ago where I think I posted it on my story, where I said, I feel like my cycle is coming back. So I'm in, you can keep your IUD for 5 years.
Our bodies. Interesting.
Yes. You can keep your IUD for around 5 years. And for the first year that people have their IUD, only 15% ovulate, and 85% their ovulation doesn't happen. But after that first year, that gradually starts to go down, and it turns around. So 85% of people start ovulating again, and only 15% of people do not ovulate while they have their IUD. And the IUD then protects you in a different way. It protects you by changing the balance in your uterus, basically, keeping you from getting pregnant. But long story short, I could feel my ovulation coming back a few months ago, and I didn't realize what it was, but I could just feel that there was a cycle. I could just feel okay, all the signs of me being up then and a little bit more down then are coming back. And I've been feeling that ever since, or not every month, but ever since. I've experienced that a few times. So now I've actually started tracking, and hopefully that will give some insight. I'm definitely going to give everyone an update once I know a little bit more, because now I'm on tracking day 4, I think. So can't really tell you where I'm at. Yeah,
that's pretty cool though.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's
I'm excited for that.
There's a lot of hype or bullshit around to listen to your body, but it's actually a thing. Like,
exactly.
I felt it as well, and your body tells you what you need. And like same, like my hormones were pretty, because I'm plant-based, but sometimes your body tells you what you need to eat.
Yeah. Very true. And also I feel like it gives you some power back when you know what's going on. It doesn't leave you so frustrated with yourself.
True.
Yeah.
Because you get taught a lot that periods are like gross or disgusting or happen to you, but technically they're give you the gift of life, kind of. Well, like you are able to give the gift of life. So it's I think I read that somewhere sometimes, and I was just like, you know what, like it's not going to change anything if I'm miserable every time that I have my period, or that I know it's coming. I should just welcome it, have an extra cookie, whatever it is, take a bit more me time, self-care, and then just it feels better.
Exactly.
I was going to say like we should wrap it up with the how to navigate this in your life, but I feel like that's what we just actually went through.
Yeah, maybe. I think so, that how to navigate it is honoring what is happening in your body. So make sure
like
that you
word.
know what's going on, that you can communicate that you know, okay, I'm in this phase. So don't plan anything during the time where you know, okay, I need some me time then. And fully go for it when you know, okay, those days, my energy levels are going to be up, up, up and away. So yeah, make sure to plan accordingly. Yeah. I think that's the most important thing about what contraception is. Make sure to find what works for you. And I think one of the messages that I also want to give you, or like give everyone that's listening, is make sure to know the full story. Because yes, I've said some things about hormonal birth control here. And
but everyone reacts differently.
Everyone reacts differently, but do know that there is a lot of risks to hormonal birth control, because I feel like when I was 14, I was not informed.
Yeah, neither was I. Yeah,
I was not informed.
Like,
yes.
You can hear a lot of stuff, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's important to be educated.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with like when the vaccination for COVID came, everyone was like, oh yeah, but it might up your chances of getting a blood clot. But still the chances of getting a blood clot when you take the vaccination are way lower than people who use hormonal contraception have.
Oh, I think you shared that in your story.
Daily. Exactly.
Oh,
wow. And I feel like I was not informed, that I didn't know those side effects, and I didn't know the actual like research that has done on that. Probably also partly my own fault, but also I feel that because women and people who have a menstrual cycle are put on the pill, like you put it, when they're so young, how much responsibility do you have in that case? I feel like your doctor should inform you better and actually make you understand like the other options as well. So yeah, I think that's very important. Make sure to weigh all your options, make sure to know all the risks. And if you want to know more about a lot of the risks and like dive deep into contraception, definitely read the book that I showed you before, Period Power. I'll put it in the show notes as well. And thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Hope this was informative.
Yes. If you have any questions, you can always DM us on our Instagram. Let's talk about the podcast. And then we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.